Hi, I'm Carrie with EDGEucating, keeping you on the cutting edge of education. Recently, EDGEucating partnered with Thrively to host a webinar on the first steps in creating a positive climate and culture in your school. Not everyone was able to attend that webinar, so we thought it would be best to share it here on YouTube so that everyone can see it. Because here at EDGEucating, we're always trying to reach all of our educators. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that bell so that you can get notifications of when EDGEucating is sharing all of our wonderful videos here on YouTube. I hope you enjoy our webinar on the first steps in creating a positive climate and culture.
We are welcoming people into the webinar. Thank you so much, everybody, for taking time on a Tuesday to explore culture and really get settled as people are coming in. I want to just say thank you to all the educators out there for all the work you're doing. If you've just had spring break, I hope you were able to take some time for yourself and create a positive climate and culture inside of yourselves to continue to build yourselves up. Today is going to be all about really trying to develop our wellness plan for not only ourselves, but our school systems and taking care of each other. I am so happy to be here with two fantastic educators who have been in the field for a very long time. I don't want to take away their thunder, so I'm going to make sure we introduce them, but thank you for coming. I'm Jeanette from Team Thrively, and we're very excited to be working with EDGEucating.com. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves and share with us what their superpowers are. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Carrie, and this is my partner, Alicia. We here at EDGEucating focus on keeping you on the cutting edge of education. We are here to make sure that we are really making connections with the new things that are going on in education so that you can just make sure that everything that you're doing right now is modern and up to date. But one of the things we really wanted to talk about with Thrively is school climate and culture and improving your school climate and culture. One of the things that I've experienced in my 25 years in education is the fact that every school has a certain feel to how the year goes, how it feels when you walk into a building. And I became the principal of an elementary school not too long ago that the school had a great reputation. But when you walked in, it just wasn't friendly. People were not happy. And so our goal was to really make the climate and culture in the building something that was palpable when you entered the building. That when you walked into my school, you knew that not only was learning happening, but that my teachers and my students enjoyed being a part of that school. And all of that really started with working with my teachers. And so if you have access to your chat right now, I want you to think about when you're in your building right now, are there teachers that you think definitely would be the Debbie Downers, the negative Nellies that are part of your climate and culture, that are making it hard for everyone to sort of be happy on a regular basis? Is there anybody out there that feels the same way?
Don't give us names.
Oh, that is very fortunate. You see, one of the things that we knew that we had to start with was our teachers. So when we started with doing our new plan, we made sure that what we were doing included our teachers, because they are the ones who are going to connect with those students. They are the ones who are going to show that enthusiasm. They are the ones who are going to motivate our kids. And if we do not have their buy-in, then we will not have any follow-through. And you can have the best plans, the most important things can happen in your mind as an administrator, but if those teachers aren't on board, it's not going to happen for the children. As teachers in your building, you might feel this way when you're like the lead teacher with your grade level, and you have that one teacher who just absolutely refuses to get on board with the positive things that are going on with even just your grade level. So we really needed to focus on our teachers and making sure that not only did they feel like they were supported by me, but that they were able to support other teachers within the building. They needed to feel like they were part of the process. So when we decided that we were going to focus on our climate and culture, we hit our teachers first. We had a plan for our students, but we wanted to make sure that what we were doing was working with 100% teachers first. And so what that looked like was we decided to start with a pep rally. And the way that we did that was we started the school year off by mailing out an invitation to all of our teachers and assigning them to a team and letting them know that we were going to kick off our school year with a pep rally. I didn't tell them what was going to happen in the pep rally. I didn't tell them anything about any kind of recognition that was going to happen in the pep rally. In that letter, I just told, just to get them hyped up, that they were going to be part of a team. And the power of being on a team really affected my teachers in a way that made them think, okay, so here's this super energetic person. I purposely teamed them up with people who were the Debbie Downers and the negative Nellies. I also made sure that any team that I created did not include people like the teacher with the same assistant. For instance, in my kindergarten classrooms, we have a teacher and assistant in all 3 of the homeroom classes. Well, not only did I guarantee that all of the different teams were represented in kindergarten, I made sure that the teacher and the assistant from the same classroom were not on the same team. The reason why is because I needed them to really get out of that comfort zone of working with just that singular person, working with, not reaching out to others for help. We needed to make sure that not only were they going to work with people within their same grade level, but when we had our different teams, that they were going to work with people from other grade levels, other subject areas, and that by doing that, it really expanded what we call our critical friends. In the state of Mississippi, part of our teacher evaluation in the professional development area is that you are a critical friend to your fellow teachers. Well, as an administrator, I needed to make sure that that was even an opportunity in the building. If I didn't have the opportunity for people to be critical friends of each other, there was no way that I was going to, they were going to move forward on that part of their professional development. I also had a lot of teachers who would band together and be the crab apple in the bunch, to be the person who would spread negativity. And I could not allow those people to be on the same teams, because when those 2 people would get together, it would spread like wildfire. So really, we were very purposeful in how we chose which person was going to be on which team. I needed to spread out grade levels. I needed to spread out personalities. I needed to spread out people who were already comfortable with each other, and that being on those teams created new relationships within my building. And those relationships were going to be positive. The whole point at the beginning of the year was to make those relationships a positive thing that was going to go on within the building. The next part of it was actually planning a pep rally. So we've all been to pep rallies related to student achievement, but how many of you have ever been to a pep rally just for the teachers. Well, when I was going to do a pep rally, I also wanted it to be a kickoff for my school year. So the typical, when I was a teacher going into the very first day of a school year, it was always you clocked in or signed in, and then you went into the auditorium or the cafeteria, and you sat there and listened to your administrator go over the handbook and discuss lesson plans. And when the year kicks off in a way that is like that, you're not motivated to be excited about what's happening next. You're not excited about the year to come. It's almost like those sorts of events at the beginning of a year make it so that you feel like a humdrum school year, here it goes. So what we wanted to do was kick it off with a pep rally and make that an exciting part of the school year. So I had my teachers come into our auditorium. The invitation for the first day of school and the pep rally asked them to be dressed in their team color. When we started this, it was really funny because on Facebook, all of the teachers, are friends on Facebook. And so I sent out the invitations, and we had the teachers, the fun teachers who were going to motivate everybody else, post things on Facebook about how their team was going to win, how their team was going to be better. Yellow was going to rule, red was going to drool, all kinds of crazy things, trying to get them excited about being part of that team. And it really blew up Facebook for all of us. And I didn't even give them a theme that year. Alicia, were you part of it that year?
Yeah.
So we had everyone just so excited just about being part of that team color. So they walked into the auditorium, and I had them sitting with their team. And then we started to just acknowledge the positive things that had happened the year before. And the very first thing we did was welcome new people. So our new teachers, our new paraprofessionals were the very first people that we said anything to. And by doing that, you acknowledge all of the people who are excited they were excited to start a new school year. So we fed off of that excitement by bolstering their excitement. We gave them a little bit of swag, a school shirt, celebrated them, gave them rounds of applause, making sure that they felt welcome. But then when you're going through the rest of the people, you want to make sure that any kind of pep rally that you are holding for your teachers, that you are acknowledging every single person in some way. Now, this takes a little bit of preparation. It really didn't take a little bit of preparation. It took a lot of preparation to make sure that I was going to acknowledge in some way every single teacher and paraprofessional that came into that pep rally, to make sure that everyone felt like their contribution to our school was valuable. My teachers and my paraprofessionals need to know that they are part of a team that absolutely loves them and finds them to be important. So we had some people who did things like they started a new degree. We had people who their students had awesome test scores, or they showed so much growth. I did not limit the acknowledgments to just how hard that they were working. Some of the things that we acknowledged were just, how long have you been at our school? Here's a veteran person. And by acknowledging things like that, we also identify those critical friends for those new teachers. So here we are acknowledging things like the most years in the building, the most years within a subject area. And that gives the new people, or the people who haven't been there very long, an idea of, well, who are these people that I can go to for help? Who are these people when I'm having issues with my math lesson? which teacher am I going to go to help with that content area? If I'm having issues with discipline and the administrator just acknowledged this teacher for having the best classroom management, that's the person that I'm going to go to. And it also makes it so that the fellow teachers see that the administration acknowledges everything that they have going on in their classroom, not just test scores. Because our entire, everything that we learn here in society is all about test scores, and it's just not what really should be motivating our teachers, and it's not what motivates our teachers. Those light bulbs going off, the positive smiles that students give, the new attitudes, the great behavior, all of those things are what make the teachers motivated to teach. So those are the things that I made sure that I acknowledged of my teachers and paraprofessionals during this Pep Rally.
Carrie, we have a question in the chat.
Okay.
We have the question, how many teachers, assistants, and paras do you have at your school? So where are we sitting right now?
So we have a school that has 400 students. I have 25 certified teachers. I have 20 paraprofessionals. And the way that I have set up my building is kindergarten and first grade teachers. They each have one assistant. And all of the grade levels above that, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth grade, they each have one assistant that all of the teachers in that grade level share. So my grade levels have 2 or 3 teachers. So right now, what I'm dealing with is about 45 personalities, give or take, because you got to throw in the custodians and the cafeteria ladies too. But right now, that's what we're really dealing with. And we try to include the custodians and cafeteria people and the bus people as much as we can throughout the year. But really the first day of school, more often than not, they are pulled out of my building for different meetings for their different departments. So I'm not able to have access to them right at the beginning. But we do assign them roles, and we assign them to different teams when it comes to the rest of the school year, just not the beginning of that Pep Rally. So we have, I think, a small school compared to some other schools that I know in our area, but this is something that could definitely be done even if you didn't feel that you could, especially with COVID, have big groups. If you need to have multiple pep rallies, if you need to have virtual pep rallies, those are things that we're going to be talking about at another webinar when it comes to communication with stakeholders.
And that's Thursday.
And that'll be on Thursday. But this pep rally, we also, so as we would acknowledge different groups, then we would play a game. Very simple games. You know, the minute to win it games, you can really look those up and adapt them into the different abilities that everybody has. You know, because we have a school where I have people who are 23 years old, and then I have 70-something-year-old people, and I have men and I have women. And so when I am choosing games, I need to make sure that they're games that are accessible to everyone. So very simple games that our teams had to work together so that they could reach their goal. And, you know, ultimately, very simple things can be the goal. It could be just to be named the winner. I find that the absolute best motivation that I've ever given to my teachers was the winning team could come in 30 minutes late the next day. Just that simple.
That competition got crazy.
It got crazy. They absolutely loved the idea of just, they got to sleep in the next morning just a little bit. It's a lot of fun when they have competitions that are easy, simple minute to win it games. It keeps the pep rally going. You acknowledge this group or these groups, you play a game. You acknowledge some more groups, you play a game. It's a really good way to keep the flow going. The people don't, are anticipating what's coming next. They're having fun talking about what they think is going to happen. They're having a great time cheering on their teammates. We need to make sure that they're all playing the games. And it's just so much fun with that kickoff pep rally. So once you have that pep rally, great things are going on. Everybody's great attitude. Well, the school year isn't just one day. And so for you to have that positive climate and culture for your teachers, you need to maintain the relationships that they have with each other and with you. And so some of the things that we did were communication games. We do have to have the talk about everything that has to do with your handbook. You do have to have that talk. You do have to have the head of the departments come and talk about the different services that the school district gives us. But you know what? You can kick off things with a simple communication game. We had professional development days during the year that I would go, just what am I going to do with professional development? So there were a couple of things that we did to maintain those relationships. We had different team competitions, like wear your team color this week, this Friday, wear it with jeans, and we just kept a tally of who's participating. But some of the communication games that I think were best were, there's an organization called Breakout EDU, and they do breakout rooms. And I knew I was going to forget this word. When we went to the escape rooms, I took our entire faculty to an escape room facility, and I assigned different teams to the different rooms. And the people who had the fastest time, won the prize. But communicating with each other really is an integral part of having the positive climate and culture, because everyone needs to not only know who we are as teachers, but who we are as people. And that brings us to our next level, where we want to have great professional learning communities. And to have that, we have to have a mix of people. The best professional learning communities that I had in my building were based on not only horizontal, but vertical alignment. And what I mean by that is I had my kindergartners in with my first and second grade teachers discussing their units and what they were teaching and how they were teaching it. And then later in the month, I would have those multiple grade levels talking about just English or just math. What we really needed to do is figure out, I can only be in one meeting at a time, but over time we have to figure out who is our teacher leader, who are the people that I can have as facilitators in those professional learning communities. And I know that Thrively can assist with that, because we have what is the name of the test?
There's 3 different options. They have the assessments built into Thrively, and you can have as teachers take those Midas assessments and the various components of the assessments to see who your leader, to help you choose those leaders.
Because leaders aren't just people who know a lot of content. Leaders are people who could motivate others and to maintain the positive climate and culture in your building. Jeanette, I know that you wanted me to give you a few minutes at the end.
Yes, thank you so much. Carrie, you exemplify what we want all humans to do, right? You said, I think 3 or 4 times in this, know your staff, know each other, build relationships, all of those things. And here you say it right here, the relationships is the header. And as we come in, out of this school year and into the next school year, it is about how do we build those relationships and celebrate I know I was part of a team in college, and we celebrated a lot of little wins and big wins, and pep rallies are such a great way to celebrate. I know you have many, many other ways, and certainly our participants here can go to EDGEucating.com and tap into all the resources that you guys provide on your site. But of course, and I'll share my screen for a second if we want to kind of trade. I will kind of take over a little bit and show an example, and thank you for sharing that. An example of what we used to do in our school is design challenges with teachers. It could be design challenges, it could be, you know, lots of different types of competitive challenges, but imagine taking a project or creating a pep rally. What would be the greatest pep rally that we could have as a staff to celebrate? And you get people in teams, right? You've got these teams over here. You've got the design thinking process, and you know, you start to take pictures and show artifacts, and maybe you have a judges table, right? You know, who was the best team, and people are now working together to build, create, to solve problems. And I think, you know, in our Thrively projects, we've got this aspect of it. Not only could you do it for one time, but you could do it over the course of time and continue to try to get these teams thinking about real world situations that we're in. But I think always going back to the one area that we start with and we end with in Thrively is just knowing our students, being able to go in and see, what am I good at? Imagine if I knew every single one of my staff members, their top strengths. I knew single one of my staff members' smarts, what their habits of mind are. Maybe we know where we need to support them, not kind of, you know, poke holes in them, but really say, hey, listen, I know you're having trouble taking responsible risks. I'm going to support you with that. I'm going to be the administrator that helps you tackle, you know, some of the areas, or finding humor, right? You know, pairing them up with somebody who's going to say, you know what, I'm going to take this a little bit lighter, right? So I think really finding those heterogeneous groups, you've said it a number of times, grouping in teams. I appreciate all you guys do, and certainly I want everybody on this webinar and anybody who's going to be watching the recording to not only go to your site at EDGEucating.com, but to come to Thrively and really recognize that this is an area that we can all be supporting each other and empowering each other, because we've got a lot of work to do and a lot of growth. So I want to open it up for a chance to people to ask questions. I did go ahead and put in there a form if you want to fill it out and get an opportunity to maybe show Thrively Pro to your principal, show them all the ways that you know, you can come back in the fall with this new attitude, right? We're ready to tackle a design challenge together. We're ready to tackle the year together, but we're going to celebrate all that we've been through so far. So I want to turn it back over to you for, I know it goes fast, right?
As you celebrate positive things, it just makes it so much easier to deal with the negative things. You know, it just makes it so that you are ready, because I've done things that are positive with this person. I can go in and talk about those negative things and be able to deal with it so much easier.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, you know, I think one of the things that we've heard as educators so much, and certainly I want to give a shout out to everybody out there that's listening. All of us have overcome so many obstacles. We've had so much great learning. We've expanded how we think about education and how we interact with our parents and our students, but also to you, Carrie, and all the other administrators out there, that you've also had to drastically pivot. And I think putting that center focus on the human, that's what learning's about, right? We're in this together. And so being a coach and a cheerleader and an organizer, Thrively really supports all of you out there doing that. If we start with our strengths, we know each other, and we say, we've got you, right? Let's really try to come together. We can create amazing learning experiences together. So I really hope that all of you out there are taking care of yourselves. Look to the people. We on these webinars try to bring people to the table that can connect dots for you. I know, Alicia, that's a word you love to use when we've talked before. Alicia has so many STEM resources. Design challenges are a great way to bring kids together and get them feeling like, wow, look at what we did, look at what we created. So certainly reach out to Alicia and Carrie if you have any interest in knowing more about STEM. You want to talk a little bit about your some of the things that you have going on with that? We've got about a minute.
We do a ton of things in terms of STEM. We also do a lot of professional development. So if, you know, your school, you're listening to this and you feel like this is something that could help in your school, definitely reach out to us. I did include our contact page link on there, which you can email us directly from there. You can also sign up for our newsletter. We will not bombard you. You're not going to get a bunch of sales material if you sign up for that. It's a once a month thing. So, you know, don't be hesitant in that regard. We post all the time. The articles are free on our site. We also do instructional videos about things. So if you're listening to this and you have questions that maybe you're not comfortable asking on here, but you want to reach out to us directly, make sure and do that. We also vet products. So if you're in the market for something, you're trying to figure out whether or not that product is going to be a good purchase, we do have a list of vetted products, meaning we've used them, we are very familiar with them. If we haven't put our hands on them, they're not on that site. But if you're also looking at something and you're not sure, reach out to us and we're happy to vet something for you. So just let us know how we can be a resource. Our goal is to basically help other educators. That's what we're here for. We've both lived through it, been through it, understand your struggles, and we want to be there as a support system for you.
Thank you so much, Alicia. I really appreciate all of your great insights. And again, keep the conversation going. I know you guys are coming back on Thursday to kind of talk a little bit more about really bringing the climate and culture to the center of what we're doing by engaging stakeholders in the conversation. When we're all seated at the table and we all feel like we have a voice, I think we see the power that comes from that. And let's bring the fun back into learning. Let's bring the fun back into school with rigor and with equity, but of course with all of our voices. Absolutely, you can have, Peter, the registration link. I will make sure that that gets sent out. And
yes, and on Thursday, Jeanette, just so they know, if you happen to be a teacher that's on here and you're thinking that maybe today was limited for you and things that you might have control over, please make sure and attend on Thursday, because those will be a lot more things that you can do at that teacher level to sort of start this culture ball rolling if you're not that administrator. So if you're sitting on today and you're thinking, well, these are things from a higher level perspective that I may or may not be able to contribute to, you know, like I said, Thursday, I think you'll get a lot more of those ideas that you can actually implement at your level.
Absolutely. And if you know great administrators out there, administrators who could use some extra supports, please share this out. We will be following up with the recording and lots more information. So thank you to both of you. I know we always go 2 minutes over because we have so much to share with each other, but you can certainly follow Thrively on Twitter. You can follow EDGEucating on Twitter. I don't know if Alicia, you want to pop into there, just ways that they can follow besides your website. And thank you so much for all you do. Keep thriving out there, everybody. Spring is coming, and hopefully that means we're all going to feel a little bit of a breath of fresh air. So I appreciate everybody. Thank you for coming today, and we'll see you back here on Thursday.